Hello and welcome to Guardian Airlines. There's been some major developments when it comes to Melbourne finally getting an airport train line. But before you get too excited, remember, we have been burnt before. So let me explain while we take off. If you live in Melbourne, have ever visited Melbourne, or honestly have even just had a passing conversation with a Melburnian, you will know about the horrors of the airport rail. The most famous train line to never exist. I mean, even Perth has an airport train at this point. Melbourne is the biggest city in Australia, and the trip from Sydney to Melbourne is the 5th busiest passenger flight route in the entire world. And yet, when you land in the outer suburb of Tullamarine, the only way to get to the Melbourne CBD is by car, a really expensive taxi, or the much maligned Skybus. Well, actually, that's not quite true. If you were truly desperate, you could potentially try the incredibly inconvenient and rarely travelled public transport route, which involves a bus, a tram, and a train.
I declare Melbourne Airport open.
State and federal politicians have been promising and subsequently failing to build an airport rail for more than 60 years. They started talking about it before there was even an airport. Then we moved to the 70s and suddenly there's all this talk of a 400km/h monorail speeding down the freeway, and they called it the Aero Train.
A jet-propelled monorail vehicle which rides on air cushions.
But this fizzled after the Aero Train's inventor passed away in 1975. Fast forward to the 80s and an airport stop was included on a plan for a private high-speed rail connecting Melbourne, Canberra and Sydney. But although this plan was widely popular and apparently financially viable, it all folded when the federal government didn't play ball when it came to the significant tax discounts the company wanted. Oh, you'll just see that the seatbelt sign has turned back on. We are experiencing some turbulence. The conversation really picks up again in 1999 when Victorian Premier Stephen Bracks was elected on the promise of an airport rail. But he then, of course, backpedaled in 2002 when analysis revealed that it would take 10 years for it to be economically viable. And at this point, any proposals are starting to receive significant backlash from Skybus, the company that runs CityLink, which is the toll road leading to the airport, and even sometimes the airport themselves, who were making a killing on parking fees. But that didn't stop the government from promising it again in 2008. And 2010, and 2013, and 2018.
The airport simply won't function without this rail link.
Wait a second. The Andrews government actually seems like they're serious this time.
We're delivering rail to Melbourne Airport for the very first time.
There's a business plan, and a website, and a budget, and a timeline. Construction to be completed by 2029. Could this airport rail actually be happening?
Ultimately, this should have been done a long time ago. We're not waiting any longer. We're getting on and actually delivering this.
But almost immediately, a years-long stalemate began with the owners of Melbourne Airport over the train station's altitude. See, the government wanted it above ground because that was way cheaper, while the airport wanted it below ground because, well, they say it's a superior design. And, also coincidentally, that would mean that they wouldn't lose any highly lucrative parking garages. Wait, at the start of July 2024, the airport finally backed down and excitedly announced that the proposed above-ground train station would be open by 2030.
Any rail is better than no rail.
Okay, yes, I am hearing from the captain that we are in for a smooth descent. No, I'm hearing from the captain that yes, of course, the current Premier, Jacinta Allen, came out just a few hours later and said, hang on a second, you've been delaying for 4 years. There is absolutely no way that we're still getting it done by this time.
Ongoing, frustrating delays.
So anyway, all of this is to say that Melbourne will maybe potentially be getting an airport rail sometime in the 2030s. Maybe. Well, we've arrived at the terminal, so until then, I'll see you on the Skybus.
Hey, our flight will